Silence is misunderstood because people confuse it with fear, hesitation, or lack of confidence, when in reality it is deliberate control. Silence is the decision to stop reacting and start directing. It is choosing progress over performance, substance over spectacle, and depth over noise. When you remain silent, you are no longer negotiating your future with outside opinions. You conserve mental clarity and emotional strength. Silence allows ideas to mature without interference. It creates space for discernment, strategy, and patience, which are impossible to develop in constant conversation or explanation from others who neither understand your vision nor respect. Staying silent is an act of power because it removes you from unnecessary battles. Not every opinion deserves engagement, and not every challenge requires a response. Silence keeps you from defending dreams still under construction. It prevents premature exposure to criticism that weakens resolve. When you speak too soon, you invite doubt into sacred processes. Silence protects momentum by keeping your focus inward and forward. It trains emotional discipline and patience. Powerful people speak intentionally, not impulsively, understanding that restraint multiplies influence more than constant explanation ever could during seasons requiring growth, clarity, wisdom, endurance, maturity, timing, courage, self-trust, mastery. Silence becomes strategy when you realize attention is currency. Every reaction you give away costs focus you never recover. Loudness attracts spectators, but silence attracts builders. Strategic silence allows you to observe patterns, study people, and understand environments without revealing intentions. It gives you informational advantage. While others announce, you prepare. While others debate, you design. Silence sharpens thinking and decision-making. It keeps your energy reserved for execution rather than validation. Those who master silence often move faster because they are uninterrupted by opinions, distractions, or emotional entanglements that drain momentum, distort judgment, weaken confidence, dilute purpose daily, unnecessarily. Remaining silent requires inner strength because the ego craves recognition. Silence denies the ego its reward and trains humility. It forces you to find validation internally rather than externally. This builds self-trust and independence. When applause is removed, commitment is tested. Silence reveals whether your drive is genuine or performative. It strengthens alignment between values and actions. You learn to work without witnesses. Over time, this discipline compounds into confidence that cannot be shaken by criticism or praise. Silence becomes a mirror, exposing motives and refining character through honest self-confrontation daily, consistently, privately, deliberately, patiently, relentlessly, inwardly, alone. Silence also prevents unnecessary comparison, which destroys progress quietly. When you stop broadcasting, you stop measuring yourself against timelines not meant for you. Silence reconnects you to your unique pace and calling. It helps you hear intuition more clearly. Constant noise drowns wisdom. Silence filters distractions and sharpens priorities. It allows long-term thinking instead of reactive behavior. You begin acting from purpose rather than pressure. This state produces better decisions and sustainable momentum. By staying silent, you escape the trap of proving yourself and focus instead on improving yourself consistently, strategically, intentionally, patiently, faithfully, humbly, steadily, inwardly, daily, alone. Silence is essential during seasons of preparation because growth requires incubation. Seeds grow underground before breaking soil. Silence mirrors this natural law. You develop skills, discipline, and capacity away from attention. This unseen work builds structural strength. Announcing growth too early exposes fragile foundations. Silence allows failure without embarrassment and experimentation without judgment. It encourages learning at full intensity. You gain mastery privately before demonstration publicly. This process reduces pressure and increases excellence. When results finally appear, they stand firm because they were forged patiently, quietly, and intentionally through discipline, repetition, focus, humility, consistency, restraint, endurance, sacrifice, faith, practice, solitude. Practicing silence reshapes communication itself. You speak less, but with greater precision and weight. Words become tools rather than habits. Silence teaches you to listen deeply, noticing what others miss. This improves leadership and negotiation. You respond rather than react. Silence creates emotional distance that enhances objectivity. Decisions become cleaner and less impulsive. By not filling every gap with noise, you command respect naturally. People lean in when you speak. Silence trains discernment, ensuring that when you finally speak, your message carries authority, clarity, and undeniable presence, earned through consistency, restraint, patience, discipline, wisdom, maturity, timing, experience, practice, humility, silence. Silence also protects vision from contamination. Not everyone has the capacity to steward your ideas responsibly. Sharing prematurely invites projection and limitation. Silence keeps your vision pure while it evolves. It prevents others' fears from becoming your doubts. When you guard your thoughts, you guard your future. Silence gives you control over narrative by delaying it. You choose when and how to reveal outcomes. This strengthens confidence and authority. Vision grows strongest in solitude before being introduced to the world. Silence ensures your direction remains self-governed, not crowd-directed despite pressure, noise, trends, opinions, fear, expectations, distractions, influence, chaos. Choosing silence requires courage because it contradicts modern culture. The world rewards visibility, noise, and constant updates. Silence resists this pressure intentionally. It is discipline in an age of distraction. By staying silent, you opt out of validation cycles. You stop feeding algorithms and start feeding purpose. This reclaims autonomy over your mind. Silence breaks addiction to approval. It grounds identity internally rather than digitally. Over time, this separation strengthens self-respect. Silence becomes rebellion against mediocrity and conformity, allowing you to build something meaningful beyond temporary trends without compromise, distraction, dilution, noise, dependency, fear, comparison, haste, pressure, urgency, performance. Ultimately, silence refines intention and amplifies impact. When words are scarce, actions gain weight. Silence forces alignment between inner conviction and outward behavior. You stop posturing and start producing. This integrity accelerates trust within yourself. Silence becomes a training ground for excellence. It strips away shortcuts and theatrics. What remains is commitment and craftsmanship. Over time, silent effort compounds quietly into undeniable results. Others may overlook you initially, but outcomes cannot be ignored. Silence ensures that when recognition arrives, it is earned through substance, not noise built patiently, deliberately, privately, consistently, faithfully, humbly, strategically, intentionally, inwardly, steadily, daily, alone, focus. Focus is often mistaken for doing more, but true focus begins with subtraction. It is the discipline of removing anything that does not directly serve why, our highest priority. Every addition demands attention, and attention is finite. When you try to do everything, you dilute effectiveness everywhere. Focus requires ruthless honesty about what actually matters now, not what feels urgent or exciting. Elimination creates clarity. It narrows your vision so energy can be concentrated instead of scattered. The most productive people are not the busiest. They are the most selective. They guard their time fiercely, understanding that saying no is a form of progress. Elimination is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront attachment. Many distractions feel productive because they create movement without direction. Focus demands that you abandon activities that once defined you but no longer serve your future. This can feel like loss. However, growth requires leaving behind outdated habits, roles, and expectations. Focus exposes misalignment between goals and behavior. It asks hard questions about priorities. When you remove non-essential tasks, you reclaim mental bandwidth. This creates space for deep work and strategic thinking. Elimination simplifies life without shrinking ambition. It sharpens purpose by cutting away noise that disguises itself as opportunity or obligation or responsibility or relevance. Focus means choosing depth over breadth. Instead of touching many things lightly, you commit to mastering a few deeply. Elimination allows immersion. When distractions are removed, you can sustain attention long enough to produce excellence. Shallow effort produces average outcomes. Focused effort compounds skill and insight. By narrowing your scope, you increase your impact. Elimination removes context switching, which drains cognitive energy. Each transition costs momentum. Focus protects flow. It enables long stretches of uninterrupted creation. This is where meaningful progress happens. Without elimination, effort becomes fragmented and results remain inconsistent. Despite long hours and constant activity that looks impressive but delivers little substance, elimination also applies to mental inputs. Not all information is beneficial. Consuming excessive content creates confusion rather than clarity. Focus requires filtering what you allow into your mind. Opinions, news, and commentary can clutter thinking. Elimination means reducing exposure to sources that provoke anxiety or comparison. This mental discipline strengthens decision-making. When inputs are intentional, outputs improve. Focus thrives in a clean mental environment. By eliminating unnecessary noise, you regain control over thoughts. This enhances creativity and confidence. Mental minimalism supports execution. Without it, you become reactive instead of proactive, responding to stimuli rather than directing your actions toward chosen outcomes with intention and consistency. Focus demands eliminating false urgency. Many tasks feel pressing but have little long-term value. Elimination requires distinguishing between urgent and important. Focus prioritizes activities that move the needle, not those that merely fill time. This requires patience and long-term thinking. Elimination delays gratification. You may ignore short-term rewards to pursue sustainable growth. Focus shifts perspective from immediate comfort to future payoff. When you eliminate low-impact actions, you create leverage. Small, consistent efforts in the right direction outperform scattered intensity. Focus aligns effort with vision. Elimination ensures that daily actions accumulate toward meaningful objectives rather than dissipating across trivial demands and constant interruptions. Elimination also involves boundaries with people. Not every relationship supports your direction. Focus may require limiting access to those who drain energy or distract purpose. This is not about arrogance, it is about alignment. Elimination creates relational clarity. You choose proximity intentionally. Focus grows when conversations reinforce goals instead of undermining them. Protecting focus may mean fewer interactions, but higher quality ones. This strengthens accountability and encouragement. By eliminating toxic influences, you preserve motivation. Focus flourishes in environments that respect discipline. Relationships should add momentum, not friction. Elimination allows you to cultivate a circle that supports growth rather than stagnation or doubt or distraction or dependency. Focus improves when you eliminate decision fatigue. Too many choices exhaust willpower. Simplifying routines preserves cognitive energy for high-impact decisions. Elimination reduces complexity. You automate or standardize low-value choices. This creates mental clarity. Focus becomes sustainable when systems replace constant deliberation. By eliminating unnecessary options, you accelerate action. Consistency replaces hesitation. This structure supports momentum. Focus benefits from predictability in non-essential areas. When daily life is simplified, creative and strategic thinking improves. Elimination frees attention for what truly requires judgment. Without it, energy is wasted on trivial decisions that contribute little to progress, but consume significant mental resources over time. Elimination reveals priorities through behavior, not intention. What you remove reflects what you value. Focus exposes contradictions between stated goals and actual actions. Eliminating distractions requires accountability. You must acknowledge where time goes. This awareness enables intentional change. Focus strengthens when you align calendar with purpose. Elimination may initially feel restrictive, but it creates freedom by removing obligations that do not serve your direct eye. You regain autonomy. Focus empowers self-direction. It replaces external pressure with internal commitment. Elimination simplifies choice architecture, making disciplined behavior easier. Without it, goals remain theoretical while habits continue unchanged, maintaining cycles of busyness without progress or fulfillment or clarity or mastery. Focus also means eliminating perfectionism. The pursuit of flawless execution can stall momentum. Elimination involves releasing unrealistic standards that prevent completion. Focus prioritizes progress over polish. This allows learning through iteration. By eliminating fear of imperfection, you accelerate growth. Focused action generates feedback. This refines skill. Elimination reduces overthinking. It shifts attention from hypothetical outcomes to concrete steps. Focus thrives on clarity of next action. Removing self-imposed barriers enables consistency. Momentum builds confidence. Without elimination of perfectionism, effort becomes paralyzed. Focus requires courage to act imperfectly while remaining committed to improvement through repetition and refinement over time, rather than delay and hesitation and avoidance and self-sabotage. Ultimately, focus is sustained by continuous elimination. As circumstances change, distractions evolve. Focus requires ongoing evaluation. What once served you may later hinder you. Elimination is not a one-time event, but a practice. Focus remains sharp through regular pruning. This discipline maintains alignment. By consistently removing what no longer fits, you preserve momentum. Focus adapts without losing direction. Elimination keeps goals visible amid complexity. It reinforces intentional living. Through subtraction, clarity emerges. Focus becomes a habit supported by structure and awareness. Without continuous elimination, even clear visions become obscured by accumulation of unnecessary company, commitments, responsibilities, and distractions that slowly erode effectiveness and purpose over time. Results carry weight because they are undeniable. Announcements rely on belief, but results rely on evidence. When you announce plans, you ask others to imagine a future that does not yet exist. When you produce results, you remove the need for imagination. Evidence silences doubt. Results communicate competence, discipline, and consistency without explanation. They stand independently of opinion. People may challenge words, but they respect outcomes. Results shift conversations automatically. Instead of defending intentions, you demonstrate capability. This changes how you are perceived and how you are treated. Results create authority naturally, without demanding attention. They establish credibility through action rather than promises or projections. Announcements often satisfy ego more than progress. Talking about goals can create a false sense of achievement. The brain rewards expression similarly to execution, which can reduce urgency to act. Results avoid this trap. They require sustained effort and follow through. When you delay announcements, you preserve hunger. You stay focused on the work instead of the response. Results force accountability because they cannot be faked. They reveal patterns of behavior over time. Announcements are momentary. Results are cumulative. One creates noise, the other creates momentum. Choosing results over announcements protects discipline and ensures energy is invested where it produces tangible outcomes rather than temporary validation or approval or attention. Results also protect vision from premature judgment. When you announce early, you expose fragile ideas to critique before they are ready. This can distort direction or weaken confidence. Results allow ideas to mature privately. By the time outcomes are visible, they are resilient. Results bypass debate. They end arguments before they begin. People may question your plan, but they cannot question success. Results compress explanation into demonstration. They save time otherwise spent persuading others. This efficiency allows focus to remain on growth. Announcements invite opinions. Results command respect. One opens discussion, the other closes it. Results simplify communication by replacing words with proof. Producing results requires patience, which announcements often undermine. When you speak publicly, you feel pressure to perform quickly to match expectations. This can lead to rushed decisions. Results benefit from proper timing. Working quietly removes artificial deadlines created by public declarations. It allows thoughtful pacing. Results develop through consistency rather than urgency. Silence supports long-term thinking. You optimize for durability instead of speed. Results reward those who can delay gratification. Announcements encourage impatience. Results encourage persistence. Over time, patience compounds into mastery. By prioritizing results, you align effort with long-term value rather than short-term recognition, ensuring progress is sustainable and resilient under pressure and scrutiny and changing circumstances. Results also influence self-identity more powerfully than announcements. Doing the work changes who you believe yourself to be. Each completed outcome reinforces self-trust. Announcements may boost confidence temporarily, but results build it permanently. Results create internal validation. You no longer rely on external affirmation because evidence exists. This stabilizes motivation. Confidence rooted in results is calm and grounded. It does not seek approval. It withstands criticism. Announcements can inflate ego without strengthening ability. Results strengthen ability and ego follows naturally. Identity shifts through action. You become what you repeatedly do. Results anchor this transformation through experience rather than aspiration or intention or desire or talk. Results improve decision-making because feedback becomes concrete. Outcomes reveal what works and what does not. Announcements offer no such data. Results create learning loops. You can adjust strategy based on evidence. This accelerates improvement. Results turn theory into practice. They expose assumptions. By focusing on results, you become pragmatic. You prioritize effectiveness over appearance. This mindset reduces waste. You stop doing things that look impressive but deliver little value. Results clarify priorities. They show where effort produces returns. Announcements obscure this clarity by shifting focus to perception. Results ground you in reality, enabling smarter choices and more efficient use of resources over time. Results also reshape relationships and opportunities. People respond to demonstrated value. When results appear, doors open organically. Trust increases. Collaboration becomes easier. Opportunities seek you out rather than requiring pursuit. Announcements may attract attention, but results attract alignment. People want to associate with proven performers. Results reduce the need for persuasion. They speak across contexts and cultures. Results transcend explanation. They simplify networking because credibility is established. This saves emotional labor. By letting results lead, you position yourself as a contributor rather than a promoter. This strengthens long-term partnerships and reputation. Results compound socially as well as professionally, amplifying influence through substance rather than self-promotion or hype. Choosing results over announcements also strengthens focus. When no one is watching, distractions lose appeal. You work for progress, not praise. This purity of intent improves quality. Results benefit from uninterrupted attention. Announcements invite monitoring and comparison. Results thrive in solitude. Working quietly reduces pressure to perform publicly. This creates psychological safety to experiment and refine. Results reward consistency over intensity. Small actions repeated daily produce visible outcomes. Announcements often exaggerate effort, creating expectations misaligned with reality. Results align effort with truth. This alignment reduces stress. You no longer manage impressions. You manage processes. This simplicity enhances endurance and resilience over long periods of sustained effort and growth. Results also teach humility. Outcomes remind you that success is earned, not declared. They reveal gaps in skill and discipline. Announcements can mask weakness temporarily. Results expose it honestly. This honesty is valuable. It guides improvement. By focusing on results, you accept responsibility. You cannot blame misunderstanding or miscommunication. Outcomes reflect choices. This accountability accelerates growth. Results reward those who take ownership. They punish excuses. This clarity builds character. Announcements often shift responsibility to perception. Results keep it internal. This internal locus of control strengthens leadership and self-direction. You become responsive to reality rather than reactive to opinion. Grounded in evidence rather than emotion or ego or image, over time, results create narrative without narration. Your journey becomes visible through outcomes. You no longer need to explain where you are going because where you are demonstrates where you have been. Results tell a coherent story of effort, learning, and progress. They build legacy through accumulation. Announcements fade quickly. Results endure. They can be revisited, measured, and built upon. Results create platforms that words can. They establish foundation for future growth. By committing to results, you invest in permanence. You allow work to speak across time. This approach prioritizes substance over sound, ensuring that impact outlives attention and meaning outlasts momentary recognition or noise. Discipline outlasts motivation because motivation depends on feelings, and feelings fluctuate. Discipline is a decision made in advance, independent of mood. When motivation fades, discipline remains. It is the structure that carries you through resistance. Motivation feels powerful at the beginning, but it is unreliable under pressure. Discipline does not negotiate with discomfort. It operates on commitment, not emotion. People who rely on motivation wait to feel ready. Disciplined people act regardless. This consistency compounds over time. Discipline transforms effort into habit. Habits remove friction. When action becomes automatic, progress continues even on days when enthusiasm is absent, or energy is low, or confidence feels weak, or circumstances feel unfavorable. Motivation seeks inspiration, while discipline creates momentum. Inspiration is sporadic, momentum is built daily. Discipline shows up when nothing feels exciting. It turns ordinary days into productive ones. Motivation wants intensity, but discipline values consistency. Intensity burns quickly, consistency endures. Discipline focuses on systems rather than moods. You do not ask how you feel, you follow the plan. This reliability produces results. Over time, momentum generated by discipline can create motivation, not the other way around. Action fuels belief. Discipline eliminates waiting. It prioritizes execution, while others search for motivation. Disciplined individuals quietly accumulate progress through repetition, structure, and follow through that does not depend on emotional highs or external encouragement. Discipline sets standards that guide behavior. Motivation reacts to circumstances, but discipline responds to values. Standards define what you do regardless of how you feel. When standards are clear, decision-making becomes simple. You act according to identity, not impulse. Discipline reinforces self-respect. Each disciplined action confirms who you are becoming. Motivation may inspire change, but discipline sustains it. Without standards, motivation fades into inconsistency. Discipline creates boundaries. It removes options. You do not debate whether to act, you already decided. This reduces mental friction. Discipline protects focus by limiting choice. Through standards, discipline creates stability and reliability in performance, allowing steady progress without constant emotional recalibration or internal negotiation or self-doubt or hesitation. Motivation often focuses on outcomes, while discipline focuses on process. Outcomes are distant and uncertain. Processes are immediate and controllable. Discipline commits to daily actions that compound into results. This reduces anxiety. You focus on what you can do today. Motivation may chase big visions, but discipline builds them brick by brick. Process orientation increases resilience. When results are delayed, discipline continues. Motivation may quit when rewards are not immediate. Discipline accepts delayed gratification. It understands that effort precedes evidence. By honoring the process, discipline builds patience. This patience strengthens endurance. Over time, small disciplined actions accumulate into significant progress that motivation alone could never sustain. Through challenges, boredom, setbacks, and monotony inherent in long-term pursuits. Discipline strengthens identity more deeply than motivation. Motivation tells you what you want. Discipline shows you who you are. Each disciplined act reinforces self-trust. You prove to yourself that you can rely on your word. This builds confidence that is not dependent on circumstances. Motivation can make you feel powerful temporarily. Discipline makes you powerful permanently. It creates internal alignment. You become congruent. There is less gap between intention and action. This integrity fuels calm confidence. Discipline builds character quietly. It does not seek recognition. Over time, identity shifts from someone who tries to someone who does. This shift is transformative. Discipline changes self-perception, which changes behavior, which changes outcomes without the need for constant emotional stimulation or external validation. Discipline also protects against burnout. Motivation often pushes people to overextend during peaks, leading to crashes. Discipline regulates effort. It encourages sustainable pace. You do enough consistently instead of too much occasionally. This balance preserves energy. Discipline values recovery and rhythm. It respects limits while expanding capacity gradually. Motivation ignores limits in pursuit of excitement. Discipline builds capacity strategically. This longevity matters. Sustainable effort outperforms sporadic intensity. Discipline allows you to show up repeatedly without exhaustion. It creates routines that support health and focus. By maintaining equilibrium, discipline ensures that progress continues steadily. Burnout is less likely when actions are measured and intentional, rather than driven by emotional surges or pressure or urgency or comparison or unrealistic expectations. Discipline simplifies life by reducing decision fatigue. Motivation requires constant evaluation of feelings. Discipline removes this burden. When routines are established, decisions disappear. You do not decide whether to act, you follow the schedule. This conserves mental energy for creative and strategic thinking. Discipline creates predictability. Predictability supports focus. Motivation thrives on novelty. Discipline thrives on structure. Structure provides freedom. It frees attention from trivial choices. This efficiency enhances productivity. Discipline also reduces stress. You trust the system. You know what comes next. This clarity is calming. By removing emotional variability from action, discipline creates stability in performance, allowing you to operate at a high level consistently without constant inner conflict or self-persuasion or motivational seeking or external triggers. Discipline teaches resilience by exposing you to controlled discomfort. Each disciplined action strengthens tolerance for resistance. You become familiar with discomfort and learn it is survivable. This builds mental toughness. Motivation avoids discomfort unless excitement outweighs it. Discipline